What's up, everyone? Thanks for joining for today's recap session. Today is Wednesday, the 29th of October, and I'm sitting here today with no trades under my belt. Didn't take any trades today. I couldn't find any opportunities in the pre-market session. I did watch the scanners only until 22:09 Eastern time. I didn't really watch it all the way till 9 o'clock. I just felt that it was such a cold market day for me that there was no point really pushing it and getting myself into trouble and not being able to recover from it. So in a way, like, I'm quite excited and happy about this step forward for me in terms of my understanding of the market sentiment and being able to know when to go into the market and not and when to take my foot off the pedal. It's something I've definitely struggled with up until today, and today is one of the many days I hope that I will be able to keep the discipline and keep focused and not give in to FOMO. There were definitely a few stocks that popped up here and there, and I just didn't feel comfortable with any of them really. I mean, we can have a look at a couple or one or two that I looked at this morning and I was keeping my eye on, but I was just reminding myself about the mistakes that I've been making and just trying to keep things under wrap and calm and collected and not to give in to FOMO, which I think it's a big factor in terms of the decision making and getting into sticky situations. So yeah, today's a no trade day, and I'm somewhat really happy with it. I'm like, it's definitely a step forward for me in that regards. So let's have a quick let's jump on the quick screen share quickly. I'll show you my position just to confirm. Obviously, I've not taken any trades. So that's my dash trader position there. 0 trades. And yeah, today what was happening? So there is a lot of volume in the market. Of course, I'm not going to say like, we can't deny it that there was a lot of volume out there this morning. But the moves were not that great, and also they were mainly around stocks that were priced, in the sub dollar sort of price bracket. And as you can see, CMBM has had an incredible amount of volume going through it. 283 million shares of volume have traded in this stock since this morning, and it's just incredible. But considering that amount of volume, you can see that it's barely moved really. I mean, it's hardly actually moved. The range in this stock has been low of 158 and a high of 245. So I suppose we could pull up on the level 2 just to see MBM. Bear with me. Let me just bring it up. So I can show you why that might be. So if I pull up the level 2 here for you. So part of the reason for that is, of course, the float is around approximately 12 million shares. So that's the amount of shares tradable shares available out in public. This is only from one source. I haven't confirmed it for other sources, but let's just say 12 million. So it's still a relatively higher float in comparison to some of the other stocks that we normally tend to see that put in those huge moves. Like, we want sub 10 million, and in fact even less than that. But what you'll notice is that we've got the bid on the left and we've got the ask on the right. And the bid and the ask, obviously the spread's 1 cent, which is great. But look how stacked up that is. So that's 5,000 shares, 4,300, 5,000 sellers sitting there, 5,500. So you can see you've got to add 2 zeros, by the way, to this column. So that's the number of sellers and buyers on each side. So there's a good level of bid support. So that means there's a lot of buyers. Like it gradually descends and it gradually ascends. So it goes up very gradually in price. So that means for this stock to actually go up by cents, it has to break through all these sellers and then break through all these other sellers before it reaches maybe like the next level up. So you can see the potential to actually make money out of this is very limited because it's a grinding stock, and there's probably a lot of and it's probably partly because of the market makers sitting on both sides. As I don't know what the headline is. Oh, sorry, the headline was that they were going to integrate with Starlink, which obviously is a good positive news for them. So I suppose, given that the company is making good moves in the market, in the industry, then you're bound to have market makers step in and try to sort of control the price in a tight band. So anyway, I mean, as you can see from this daily candle here, it's hardly moved at all. Look how much volume it has had comparison to all the other days, right? I mean, this day it had less volume than this day, and it's made almost the same amount, same sort of move. So the high and low of today's candle so far has been high of 245 and a low of 158. So this is the sort of stocks that we've been that have been popping up. I think eRNA was one that I was watching in the morning. It did pop up with some news, but let's have a look at the 1 minute chart very quickly. So it popped up with news around 8:30, I believe. So that's open. So this is pre-market session. So around 8:30, that's where the volumes come in, because there's nothing before that really. So there was definitely volume there, but again, look at the range. It's not really great. So in my head, I was like, what is my profit to loss ratio on this, right? Of course, you could argue that it did make a 50-cent move, bit more than 50-cent move, but the price action just wasn't great on it, and I just didn't feel comfortable taking a trade on it. So, and I think at the time when I decided to log off was around this time actually, and it was trading at $1.50, and it's not a great price range for me to be getting in, because of the fact that it's a lower price stock, so you get more buyers buying bigger share positions, so more you get more scalping action happening here, which a lot of buyers and sellers get in and out very quickly, which I feel like it really affects the price action on the stocks. So anyway, all in all, today was a very slow day, and I'm just grateful for being able to recognize that and really biding my time. And just, we'll see what tomorrow brings in as a stock for us. Assuming if tomorrow is as cold as today and I don't see any, solid opportunities, I'm going to just probably have another no trade day potentially, with the way things are. Unless, something really moves and gives us a really nice pullback where I can actually find an entry. And the strategy that I trade is quite simple. And I was thinking about this yesterday. I was like, am I overcomplicating matters and then trying to take too many variables of a simple trading strategy? And that's where I get myself into difficult situations. And the other thing I was also thinking about yesterday was, after the recap, I was like, what if I started treating each trade that I take, not based on the size that I'm taking at the moment, but more so based on a bigger size? So if I imagine that, would I be able to be comfortable risking 5 to 10,000 shares of a particular stock at the time when I'm going to take the trade? What is the likeliness I'm going to make 15, 20 cents or more on a trade? And would I risk that with that sort of share size? Because ultimately, we all know that you're not really going to make much money if you're trading with, a few hundred shares at a time. The idea is to scale up and to get to, in the 3, 4, 5 to 10,000 share positions when the opportunity arises. So anyway, in that case, so I decided that maybe what I could do is I could think about it in that way. So before I actually get into a trade, I would imagine I've got a bigger position. would I take that with a bigger position? Does the risk warrant that? But of course, at the same time, we do know that size management is very important. So there might be certain instances where you think, yeah, something is worth a trade, but it doesn't mean that you have to go, full blown or guns blazing. You reduce your share size and you take appropriate level of risk rather than going in with what your maximum position is. Anyway, enough of that. I think that's giving you an overview of where I am. As you can imagine, I feel in a better state of mind, having in a way accomplished today, even though I didn't take any trades, and on the surface it may not feel like an accomplishment, but to me it feels like a good big accomplishment and as a step forward in my trading journey. But yeah, we'll see what tomorrow brings. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow. I hope you've been able to maintain a similar level of discipline, or even had some good trades. But enjoy the rest of the day, and I'll catch you all tomorrow.